everybody, or should I say hola, and welcome to this episode of the Two Bartys, which is going to be all about the new Seat Leon. Now, before we tell you what we think of the Seat Leon, please just take a moment to have a look at some of these images of the all-new Leon. So, this comes from episode 1621 for the Auto Express geeks over there, and it's when the new Seat Leon was driven. Now, the new Seat Leon is, of course, part of the Volkswagen Group, so will share a lot of the underpinnings with the Golf, with the Octavia, with the A3. And the A3 we spoke about back in episode 1 of this series, so please check that one out if you haven't already. Now, I've long been a fan of Seat ever since the original Ibiza, the Mark I Ibiza. My friend Alan had one, and I thought it was a really cool car, mainly because back in those days I think the suspension or something on the vehicle had been influenced or had some engineering input by Porsche. So the side of this Seat in little writing had something to do with Porsche. So to take a humble hatchback and have those links, I guess it's like the when Vauxhall Corsa had Lotus do the suspension in the sort of mid-90s when I worked for Vauxhall. It just made a very simple car a little bit cooler. And of course I even like the Marbella, which was based on a Fiat Panda, and the original Leon. And for me, the Leon has always had the styling right. The first one came to the marketplace and reminded me of actually an Alfa Romeo. It reminded me of an Alfa Sud. And then it went on through their different generations, and every time the Leon seems to have taken the underpinnings of a Golf and sort of, from a styling point of view, pushed the boundaries a bit further. A bit more sporty, a bit more engaging, a bit more emotive. So our neighbours over the road have the Leon from 2007, which is quite a curvy looking thing. And then in 2014 it changed again, it was a bit more edgy. This one for me is still a handsome car, but I don't think they've moved the styling on as much. What are your thoughts about the styling of the new Leon?
I think it looks great. I do like the way it looks. I'm not fully a fan of the back end. I do like it, but it seems a bit too... It's
busy?
Yeah.
And I have to agree with the back end. The bit for me, I don't mind having a nice light LED that joins the rear lights up. I have no issue with that. The issue I've got with this particular one is the way Leon has been written. It's been put under the Seat badge. I would happily be debadging the back of that just to make it a little bit less cluttered. It kind of spoils the styling. But for all those people who do know me in real life and not just on the Two Bartys, I do love the fact that the rear lights are balanced. I am a big fan of indicator, brake light, side light, fog light, reversing light in one cluster, and balanced on both sides. I know it probably costs a minutiae in engineering and costs from left to right hand drive, but just I do like a balanced rear end, and that has got a balanced rear end, but maybe the line between the two has made it look a bit narrower visually. There is something missing that wasn't missing on the previous generation. What about the front end then, James?
Well, it's a whole different story for me on the front end. I think, out of the Seat Leons I've seen, it is one of my favourite front ends.
Yeah, the grille doesn't dominate as much as it used to. It's quite a nice, neat, flowing style. The triangulation around the headlights just give it a bit of interest as well, doesn't it? So yeah, I do think that altogether it's a well-proportioned, nice-looking vehicle. There are still touches to the design. You know, long gone are the days where they have the hidden door handle at the rear. That's a couple of generations ago, but I still feel that they have done a very good job. And looking at the engine, it's using the same engine that was in the A3. So again, 150 PS or 148 brake horsepower, 250 newton meters of torque, mild hybrid as well. So basically, they're estimating this one at just over £3,000 less than the A3, which already begs the question: which one would you have?
Well, that's a tough one because I would have the front end of the Leon, but the back end of the A3.
Fair enough. We're not quite in the world of cut and shut on cars anymore. That was something that used to happen though. But generally it was the same vehicle putting the front and rear ends together. But I get what you mean. You like the front end of the Leon, you like the back end of the Audi. So the most complete design of those two for you at the moment? Your face is saying it all. You're still looking more at the Audi right now in terms of overall styling?
Overall, it's the Audi, but it's just, I want to like the Seat as a whole, but the back end just ruins it for me.
Oh, well, I wouldn't go that far. Having seen some of the other vehicles in the marketplace, maybe in a different colour it will give you a different feel.
Well, not ruins it, but it's the little bit that makes me go from Seat to Audi. It's just, it was level, but then the back end went and the Audis come.
So what about, we've touched on the power of this particular one, and there will of course be a whole range of engines available in the Seat Leon. There will be a lower powered, I guess. There'll be a 1 litre, there'll be a 1.5 with 128 horsepower as well. There'll be a 2 litre 187, and that will be the highest power until the Cupra turns up. And then of course there will be some diesel engines as well in the range. But what about the interior then, James, while we're touching on styling?
I do like the interior. I like the big screen. I like the way it's proportioned. Yeah.
And again, it's got a clear infotainment system, quite a large touch screen, and it is quite a simple interior as well. So it's not too cluttered, and it sits on a longer wheelbase as well, which helps the space in the rear. So let's have there we go, a better picture of the interior. Decent size of boot, 380 litres, which is sort of pretty right for this marketplace. Auto Express have given it 4 stars as well. But before we give our verdict, let's consider some of those key competitors. We know Golf is going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
We know you're not keen on the styling of Golf.
Nope. That's out already.
So we've got Ford Focus, we have Volkswagen Golf, and we have Vauxhall Astra, all sitting firmly in this segment with the Seat Leon. There's also the Octavia coming along. Now, to begin with, the Octavia will be priced higher because they haven't launched the base spec, but pretty much the Octavia and the Seat will be the same price. So, out of the three though, Focus, Astra and Golf, and the Leon, which one would you put your money with?
Well, the Golf is a no from the start because I don't know what they've done with the styling. It's just a bit...
Okay.
Ford Focus, that's a contender, definitely. And then Vauxhall Astra. I prefer the Leon to the Astra, so I think it's out of Ford Focus and Seat. And I think, looking at that, and then looking at that,
looks like a tough call for you. It's a flip of a coin, is it?
Yeah.
What is it that you like about the Ford Focus?
It's just they're a bit like equal. I like the Ford Focus's styling. I like the Leon's styling, but I can't find a fault or a really good bit in either.
Okay, so Ford Focus, very popular car, been out since 1998, similar time in fact to the Leon, and you're saying that actually in this latest generation that you can't really choose between the two. That's not a problem at all. That will come down to personal preference at the end of the day. Well, I guess my looking at these, it's a bit unfair on the Astra. The Astra has just had a facelift in the last sort of 6 months, but that is going to be replaced in 2021 with a whole new model. So this is the last of the GM versions of the Astra. So it does lag behind in certain areas now in terms of the cabin. There's no hybrid either, and there's certainly not going to be anything like a plug-in hybrid because it's a vehicle that dates back quite a few years now. So the Astra would be firmly in last. Not that it's not a good car, it's just a little bit outdated now. Golf would have to be third for me in that lineup as well. And between the two, I would have to pop the Leon in at second. I am a bit of a Focus fan. I'm now on my 5th Focus, so that clouds pretty much any judgment, but I'm currently in an ST Line X Focus, which price-wise wouldn't be too far off the Leon FR trim that we're seeing here. And the Leon is a fantastic looking car. Maybe if I've driven one, it would just pitch it ahead, but for me at the moment I would still go with my Focus. I've lived with one now for nearly 18 months, and that was a tractor in case you hear some background noise because we are stuck in the country. But I've lived with one for about the last 18 months, and the way it handles, the way it rides, gives it the edge for me over the previous Leon that I did get to drive. Wasn't quite as communicative. So tough at the top. You're still chewing on this. So to help James along, why don't you like, subscribe and comment below. Let us know which one you would choose out of the Leon or the Ford Focus. They're the two that he's struggling with. Give us your thoughts, and we'll see you again really soon for another episode of the Two Bartys. So from us, for now, it's goodbye.